On this episode, we keep plugging away at the new revised front axle for the Rat Rod Radio Flyer. Hey guys, we're going to try to pick back up where we left off on the front axle for the Rat Rod Radio Flyer. You're not going to see this until March, next Sunday. That's just the way it's going these days. Quick reminder, you can get your own straight 6-fan Pistons tee going to my Spreadshirt store, link in the description below. And turns out 15% off is good between now and March 8th. Just make sure you click at the top of the page once you're in the store to redeem the code, and you'll get 15% off your first order. Okay, having a night to sleep on it, what I've done is I've set up a mock-up or test panel here. And what I did is I used my centering bit and I drilled out 5 holes. This one was already in there, so there's technically 6 there. But what I did is, for the first one, I just let the centering bit go all the way through. So from there, then I just started with the centering bit, and then I used my 3/16 bit, went down to 11/64, 5/32, then down to 9/64, and I think the magic here is actually going to be a 1/8 inch bit, and in that way you can see the taper from the centering bit in there. I really think that's going to end up being the magic, but we'll mock this up. I've got some 1/4 inch plate steel, which is the same thickness as my axle, and we will lay this on top, and then we'll just kind of whip out the TIG welder and see which setup works the best. Alright, so we ended up cutting that sample piece in half, just because I had some 1/4 inch thick angle iron and I had a factory edge, so it was easier for me to clean this up and get it on there. But we're going to start with the bigger holes first. There we go, let's do it from that side. And I got some new tungsten electrodes all sharpened up, so we're going to work on the biggest ones first and work our way down. And then I will use the other side of the angle for the other sample, and we'll just see which works best. Okay, so what I learned is the smaller holes are better. In fact, this piece is still the same one from the big holes. I just could tell as I got started that was not going to be the answer. I think what I'm settling on is this is the 9/64 hole, and as you can see, I am not very good at building up my welds at the moment. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill all those out, and then when I do my first pass of TIG welding, I'm just going to TIG so I can get penetration on, kind of like a crosshair. Up here, down here, there, and then there. And then I'm just going to let it be and move on to the next hole. And then that way we can kind of tack everything in place. And if I really feel like I need to come back and clean some stuff up, I will do that. But that will force me to, A, just get practice, but B, not overextend myself, and kind of at least close in the margin of error of how I can make a mistake on doing that. So anyway, I'm going to get to drilling. I'm actually almost out of battery here on the camera, and I've got a live stream to be on with Yoshi here later tonight. Again, this is Sunday, February 24th. You're not going to see this till a week from now, but we'll check back in through the week. All right, so real quick update, you guys. It is Tuesday here, but back on Sunday. I was plasma cutting some material to do some practice welds, TIG welding, for the front axle, and I finally made a really good pass with it, and it started functioning like I assumed a plasma cutter should. And so I make one good pass, and I went back to, and this was 1/4 inch material too. So I go back to try it again to see if I kind of like figured out that magic sweet spot or whatever, right? And so I go, and it goes I mean, that's all I get. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, why is it not working? So, you know, I try a couple different things and still nothing. So I unhook it all, and then when I unhook it and I started switching over to TIG mode, I investigate the lead, and then I noticed, like, right here there was what appeared to be, it almost looked like, you know, I hit it with my mini grinder, but this was never that close to my grinder, so it couldn't be that. Well, then I was thinking, well, what if it was the plasma cutter itself? Well, look at this though. There's no way I could have ever gotten like an angle where the plasma was going to cause that. So the only other thing I can figure is when I was torching across the material, that the plate got so hot that it just melted through plastic, and then it exposed wire, and it like ground out wire or something. You know, I don't know. So I electrically taped it all back up, but like I said, since it's kind of a process to go from plasma to TIG mode, I never hooked this back up on Sunday to see if that fixed it. So then reading up in the owner's manual, the error code E06, or the sensation of getting nothing, it sort of, however they say it in the manual, did sort of indicate, it leads me to believe that this is it. So that's frustration number 1. Let's go on to frustration 2 here. So you may remember the episode where my hub sheared itself off. You can see there. So I've been looking for the longest time to find replacement wheels and tires, because I like this low profile sidewall. It just looks good, I think, in my composition. I want to replicate this as much as possible. I did a lot of research back in like last May, and I just couldn't find anything right, and so I just settled for something else, and I'm not happy with the way those are. And so I had my older brother send me the size of his tire, he sent me the size of the ones he used for his front tires, and he sent me, and the size was exactly this, 13 by 5 by 6. And so he sent me the Amazon link to where he got his tires, and I'm thinking, okay, cool, you know, worst case scenario, maybe the tires are a little different size, but the wheels would be the same size, or yada yada yada. So I order some from Amazon, and here's what shows up: 13 by 5 by 6, but side by side, these two couldn't be any different. I think this guy is what it says it is, because I believe this means, you know, 13-inch diameter tire. I think 5 inches wide tread pattern, I think, on a 6-inch diameter rim. Put the tape measure to that guy, it's like a 7-inch rim. And if you take a tape measure to the diameter of the tire, it's like 11 inches. So I don't know what's going on, but these are next to impossible to find. I figured there would be replacement wheels for these out there somewhere, because if you remember from way back when, this was off of one of those like garden cart like wagon things. And you see those around everywhere, so I don't know. You know, for the price I spent, now I'm thinking about it, for the price I spent on these, which I think they were $20 some a tire, I wonder if I could buy a brand new one of these carts for that same $45. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, I don't know. That might be something worth checking into. But again, this is where we left off from Sunday. Everything looks really nice, and I came back through and I figured out the right combination of how to drill these holes, and so I got those all set up ready to go. I just need to do some more TIG weld practice. So I settled for a 9/64 inch drill bit, and used that centering drill bit to get kind of that countersunk look. I'm really happy the way it turned out. Now I'm just worried I'm going to make it look ugly when I go to TIG weld it. But so I'm going to force myself to do some practice, drill out the same condition, and then play with the amperage a little bit on the TIG welder. Now I got to figure out how to return Amazon Prime, which, that was the amazing thing. I ordered these last night in a 1-day Prime, free shipping. Showed up today, so that's pretty awesome, but not awesome enough. Alright guys, so Thursday night I drilled out another test panel. Knowing now the hole size we want, luckily I have that other side of the angle, so we're going to do some practice test runs on this, make sure I like the results I'm getting before I jump on the axle. But I also want to take this opportunity to let you guys know you can now get a black pistons version in the Pistons T. I went with kind of an olive drab background, thought this would appeal to the Jeep guys. You know, it kind of gives it that old school Willys look. I know they love their 4 liters, so that's kind of the purpose of this one. I was tossing back and forth between doing this. There was like a tan, like a desert tan, which I thought black would look pretty cool on. And then just traditional red, since I'm trying to keep my channel, you know, traditional hot rod colors, black, white, red. But if you don't mind me saying, I think this is a pretty sharp combo. But again, link in the description below. We covered that at the beginning of this video. I'm gonna do some cleaning up, some grinds and some burrs on the side of this before we get to tackling. You know, I explained in a previous scene how I'm just going to try to, for the axle, I'll end up just kind of tacking one side, sort of working in a crosshair fashion, then do that way, that way, that way, that way. So we're going to give that a shot, and I'm going to crank up the amps a little more. That was a suggestion from Texas Viking. He obviously knows his TIG. Okay, so I'm liking this level of heat, 170 amps. Gives me a little bit of flexibility. I don't feel like I get too carried away too fast. But I gotta make sure I spend time really penetrating the thicker material first, or concentrating there before I work up the sides. So I think I've been a little premature on that to date, but I continue to be always astonished how well the TIG welding, like, they're really tiny beads, but they're so strong. So I do really enjoy that. But we're gonna try to now work the opposite direction, and we'll try to go up around, and then, you know, maybe we'll introduce some filler material here too. I don't know, we'll see. Just it's all about practice. And you know, with the tires, fiasco I had, that was going to be one of my projects, was TIG welding nuts to the back side of those Harley gas tank caps for hubcaps. But that idea kind of got squashed when the wheels and tires didn't set up the way I thought. So anyway, we get back to welding here and just see what kind of results I can get. Okay, so I think the process is a good one. I think I like the idea. After I tacked it on the 4 sides, it came back through and really just kind of stood up straight up in the puddle. And I think this is gonna work. I think this, you know, some nice results here. Okay, so I got everything tacked in place. We just did one side, and for the most part, didn't have any issues. A couple of them got like a little bit away from me, like this one right here. But otherwise, I don't think I've gone too far on any of it. And also, one of the advantages of some of the areas that, you know, maybe I came out with the tungsten a little bit, or the argon, like a flap disc will probably clean this up super nice. So I just have to fill these now. The trick is, I think, just take my time and don't get too far, don't get too carried away. Make sure the tungsten's extra sharp and all that stuff, and I should be in good shape. So I'm not quite done, but I think I feel pretty good about most of this. Now, you know, some of them are less than desirable, but again, I still gotta, first off, I gotta finish all them off. I've got about six left to bring up. But then when I clean it up, I think 2. That'll make a big difference.